We're diving into the Euro now and some more of the new standard in this battle between David Hall and John Kirtley. David recorded, so he's at the bottom of the screen, John is at the top. Also a special shout out and thanks to David. He's come on board as one of our Patreon contributors. And we can see there a wilderness reclamation in his opening hand. This is the 4-mana enchantment that allows you to untap all your lands at the end of your end step. Quench is another new. It's a common. It's a counter spell unless they pay 2. It's like the poor man's mana leak. We don't get mana leak in standard, so we get this instead. John, on the other hand, a burglar rat. This is interesting. That's going to get a counter spell. Burglar rat makes David discard a card. Is this a brew? I'm not sure what John's got going on over there. Interesting if it is a brew. We'll see next turn probably, because that'll be relentless rats. If it is a rat deck, that's pretty cool. Mono black rats. I can't say I've covered that one before. As for David, I got no idea what he's on. Wilderness Reclamation, if he had gates I would know what he was on, but he doesn't have gates, so I don't know what he's doing. Here's a Dusk Legion Zealot, so it looks like the Zealot's a 1/1, you draw a card, lose a life when it comes in. It looks like there's a mono black theme going on the other side. Wilderness Reclamation here is going to be the play. Mono black is something that I've played around with a fair bit, going back to Torment of Hailfire, when that was in there with the mono black ramp land, which I forget the name of off the top of my head. But I don't think it's very good in the new standard, because new standard seems to have a very heavy influence on enchantments, and black has no way to deal with enchantments. Interesting, he fires off the Plaguecrafter there when he doesn't really know what he's up against. It makes David discard a card, so we can see a definite theme going on from John. I probably would have held off a little bit, because you can see if he held off to this turn, he would have got Jaya Ballard. But instead now Jaya is going to go to work. Is he going to fire off that shock? No, he's not. But also, still we're like 5 or 6 turns in, and I still don't really know what. And this is a good Plaguecrafter. Okay, that makes more sense. So he had 2 in hand, I'm guessing. Jaya Ballard is down. I love this Plaguecrafter. It's one of my favourite cards in Standard at the moment. Such a beast to deal with. Planeswalkers for 3 mana. He's going to flash. David's going to flash back Chemist's Insight here. Syncopate with the older art, and you can see with John's playing the Memorial to Folly, so he does have access to the Plaguecrafter should another Planeswalker come down. And from what we've seen of David's deck so far, it looks we haven't seen any creatures, so Plaguecrafter could be a pretty good option in this deck. John's got 5 cards in hand. Here's a second rat. So this is going to get the counter spell, the Syncopate. It's going to be exiled. Nothing going on David's side. Now, if I'm going to take a guess here, a wild stab in the dark, I would think he's building towards a. Now actually, this trigger goes on the stack, but it doesn't make any difference because the Plaguecrafter is going to have to sack himself. So there's a pretty nice play there from David. It means that Plaguecrafter did absolutely nothing except cost a turn. Okay, here's Doom Whisperer on an empty board, so that doesn't look good here for David at all. You can see nothing going on. I don't know why he would surveil at that particular point, or that particular point, unless he's looking for a 1-drop. My guess here, if I'm sitting on the other side, I was going to say Banefire, but Expansion Explosion makes sense as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can only do it for 3 at the moment. 4 on the next turn with Stomping Grounds untapped. Oh no, he's going to do a huge one. Yeah, I like this. Nice play. So with the Wilderness Reclamation trigger on the stack, he floats the mana, so this is going to be a big one. Let me just see what it's going to be. Don't know why he's going to leave 4. Oh, he just wants to take down the Doom Whisperer. Okay. I probably would have... He's banking on extra counter spells. Again, I don't like firing off the Eldest Reborn right there. It's going to get countered. You've only seen Planeswalkers on the other side, so you can kind of, especially when you've got smaller creatures, you can play a little bit more reactively here. As you can see, David's plan... I don't... Both of those have flashbacks, so I probably would have taken the Chemist's Insight rather than the Radical Idea. You can see the 2 triggers on the stack, so you can get double the activations here. So it's going to be absolutely massive. A Banefire or an Expansion Explosion is going to be absolutely massive. Here's another Burglar Rat. Amazingly, I think David's doing the math here with Syncopate. We haven't seen a Burglar Rat resolve yet. This one does. Vraska's Contempt will not resolve. I kind of think that John's going to lose game 1, but it looks like the sort of deck that I think Black is going to be alright against in the next game when he brings in Duresses and things like that. So here comes this monster Expansion Explosion. There's going to be 2 triggers here. This is huge. Then the other trigger. So what's he got? He's up to 16, 22, still going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. He's going to get to 32. So his Expansion Explosion is going to be for 28. He's going to do it for 13. Oh, that's lethal anyway. So game 1's going to go to David. And we're going to go to game 2. Okay, so he's got a bit of a janky combo going on there between Expansion Explosion and Wilderness Reclamation. This one here, knowing what he's trying to do, he doesn't have the cantrips, but he does have the 2 of the key pieces. Deciding. He's going to ship it? No, he's going to keep it. Vicious Rumors. So it just makes him discard a card. The other card that I'm interested to see if is going to come in here from John is Drill Bit, which it costs is basically a Thoughtseize that costs no life, but it's 3 mana unless you do They Lost Life, then it's only 1 mana. But what we have seen here so far from John's side is I don't see a... there just seems to be a lack of power. We saw a Doom Whisperer, but other than that he's dropping 1/1s, which I don't think is going to be fast enough. Now he's dropping Plague Crafters. And you can see a nice play there, heads up from David. He takes down the Zealot because John was intending to sack the Zealot to the Plaguecrafter and have a 3/2. It's not going to happen. And he's got a Quench in hand. Here's another one, but yeah, I don't like being this aggressive with these Plaguecrafters. So we're going to see a Wilderness Reclamation here. It resolves. But you can see David's got nothing going on, so you can kind of tell his David's deck is really susceptible. It needs it's susceptible to aggressive aggro decks, I'd imagine. So that's why it needs the Quench and so on, just to buy itself a little bit of time. One card left in hand. What's he doing here? One thing I'm curious, which I don't know about Xmage, is how to untap the land. You can see he did it there. I don't know how you do that. But again, it's a pretty pointless Eldest Reborn because it got no targets. It's only going to make him discard a card. and there's nothing in the graveyards to get back. Maybe a Plague Crafter, and that's it. So it just means on this turn right here that David cannot play a Plague Crafter. Twilight Prophet comes down, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, he's got the City's Blessing, so he's going to get cards from Twilight Prophet. This is a this editing on this video is from David's layout of his game, so the cards are a bit funny where John's cards sit close and now they sit further away. It's all these things when I get sent videos, they vary, so the backgrounds and so on are determined by whoever it is that recorded it. But John looking very strong now. Well, Twilight Prophet's going to generate an additional card. Yeah, and David had seen enough, so we're going to go to game 3. Twilight Prophet there, because of the City's Blessing, it generates an additional card draw each turn, and whatever the mana cost of that card draw, it deals that damage to the player. New background vocals now provided by my daughter. Growth Spiral is a good one to have here, but he doesn't have the 4th land. When you can play the additional land... Now this is going to be interesting. What's he naming of Spyglass? He's going to counter it just to be safe. I would have been curious to know what he did name, because he'd have to pick a Planeswalker. Wilderness Reclamation is a triggered ability. But this is not looking good now for John, because David has the Wilderness Reclamation and he has 2 Chemist's Insight. So, but that is huge. That is a huge draw. That duress. It's going to get the Wilderness Reclamation. 1 down, 3 to go. This deck doesn't really do its thing properly if it doesn't have the Wilderness Reclamation. It's much slower. He's going to be relying on Planeswalkers to win him the match. What's he going to... He's going to discard the 2nd Chemist's Insight because he still needs to ramp. He needs to get as high as he can for that expansion explosion. 3 cards left for John, but he does have the Argyl's Bloodfast to draw. One, two, 4, 6, 7. So the best expansion he can get at the moment is for 3. Well, he's going to lose one of them now to the Kite Sail Freebooter. Oh, that's an interesting choice there. I think if he's going to take down the Kite Sail here in this position, or 2, 4... actually, he could have only done it for 2 anyway. Okay. So he's found the Reclamation that he needs, and he's found another expansion. So if John looks back on this match later, you'd think he's pretty unlucky with the amount of expansions that David has been drawing here. It's quite nuts. So you can see 2, 4, 6, 7. He's got access to 14 mana, so he can expansion explosion for 10. Don't know why he didn't fire off the opt at the end of turn. So see if he does it here. So yeah, he's going to go for it. Wilderness Reclamation trigger on the stack. Tap all that mana. Now untap it and tap it again. 3, 4, 5. He's not going the whole hog here. And he drew another one. I think he's drawn all 4 of his expansion explosions here. But he's got lethal on board next turn, so this is going to be a 2-1 victory to David. Doom Whisperer comes down, but it's going to be too slow. I mean, sorry, not too slow, too late. David's going to get the win, and he's going to start off his Season 8 in the European League with a victory. Yeah, I kind of wonder if this is a bit of a glass cannon deck, because it doesn't really work without the Wilderness Reclamation. It'd be too slow. And we're going to see the big expansion explosion here just to finish the match. And David takes standard 2 games to 1.